Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here this evening as we get set for the final few hours before the Edmonton Oilers officially have to match the offer sheets put forward by the St. Louis Blues. Now, the option is match, don't match, match one, don't match the other, or match both, whatever you want to do. There's a million and one ways this could have played out. It's played out to the point that Cody Ceci's been traded. Podkolzin has been acquired for a 4th-round pick, and Emberson is now an up-and-coming Edmonton Oilers blue liner. So lots already has happened over the past just about a week at this point, right? I think it was the shock last Tuesday morning, rolling into work. Oh my goodness, what have the St. Louis Blues done? Well, let's discuss kind of the last housekeeping notes we will have before we have a decision from the Edmonton Oilers management. I will say, this video might not even make it out before the Oilers are able to tell us what they're going to do. So with that in mind, if you're new to the channel, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for all the craziness that will be the rest of this offer sheet madness. And then, of course, we've got Captain Skates. We've got more to come. I want you to hit that subscribe button. And, of course, go down in the comments section below and check out Gillis TV's channel. Gillis covering more kind of NHL news, focusing heavily on the Oilers during this offer sheet madness, simply because it's the biggest news item in the NHL this week. So what do we know right now? Well, what we know is we got 2 new guys, right? We've got 2 new guys we got to maybe focus up a little bit on. And I know there's a lot of, oh, why the heck would you go out there and acquire Podkolzin, and Emberson's not that great. I mean, you gave up Cody Ceci. What the heck's going on here? Well, you look at that team control for next year for Podkolzin. So at $1 million, it's cost certainty. And for Emberson, same thing, $950 this year. That is a big upgrade on the blue line over a Cody Ceci. Podkolzin was coached by Jeremy Colleton, who worked for Stan Bowman. This is our first Stan Bowman connection we have here, in which Jeremy Colleton was in AHL Abbotsford and coached Podkolzin over the past little bit. And Chris Knobloch, who was just not too long ago in Hartford of the AHL, had Emberson back in his few years with the New York Rangers. So that's what you need to know on that front. The new guys do come maybe a little recommended from some guys connected or tied to the Edmonton Oilers organization. So we like to see that. We move on to news item number 2, if you've got time to stick around. The cap strategy, right? This is what this whole offer sheet madness has come down to, friends. It's just simply the Oilers don't match either Broberg or Holloway. They could start year with $940K projected cap space for 21 healthy and Kane on the IR. So you would have, dressing a lineup every single night, 1 extra guy, which is actually a miracle for the Oilers considering where we've been at times over the past few years. They would accrue cap space. That's the biggest thing here. Almost $1 million in cap space. You project that over to the deadline, it looks like big time money in the bank when it comes to adding that top 4 D-man we might want or might need come playoff time. So you could also submit a roster including Savoy. That's $59,000 under the cap. Put Kane on LTIR and be able to exceed cap by $5.006 million. Well, Kane is out. Then you have to do mental gymnastics, and you have to really go out there and try to solve your LTIR issue later in the year. So you see it's pretty clear there. The Oilers have a path to be cap compliant without doing anything crazy if you don't match. That's the big key. If they don't match either Broberg or Holloway, you let them walk, you take the picks. You've now got Podkolzin, you've now got Emberson, and you've kind of rebuilt your depth in a sense in your young talent pool at least a little bit. That's huge. And you also have a 2nd and 3rd rounder to show for it as well. So take of it what you will. That said, I want to take a moment right now to run over something I said this morning, run over kind of a couple of comments that I think were taken a little bit aback by folks listening back home who might not have fully understood what I was getting at. Number 1, talking about Emberson being the better defenseman than Ceci when it comes to cost certainty, when it comes to contract length, when it comes to everything, age, all that considered, potential, and kind of what the Oilers are looking for right now in terms of the lineup, especially if they match Broberg or don't match Broberg. You're looking at slotting someone in on that second-hand, right-hand D position at some point, one would assume. And then secondarily as well, one would also assume for the Oilers that Emberson does get a look, but you don't need to count on him to be an everyday player, where you were counting on Cody Ceci to be an everyday player on your bottom six pairing for $3.25 million, right? Cody Ceci not quite fitting the bill of what the Oilers need to do this season in the overall grand scheme of things. Secondarily to that, I want to follow up on kind of talking about how the Oilers right now, right? You're looking at all the situations, the RFA offer sheets, all this. Quite honestly, I'm stalling for time to try and remember where I'm going. But yeah, it's been a couple of days, and it's been a lot of news. It's been a lot of everybody talking about it. It's a big news cycle right now, and quite honestly, we're going to repeat stuff, right? I know Patrick said stuff that I'm saying, that Gillis TV is saying, that Lego Rocks is saying. All these guys are saying stuff, and it just kind of doesn't quite work out perfect. But then all of a sudden, when somebody says something that's a little different, like I said, with the Oilers might have almost wanted the offer sheet to be able to trade somebody or become cap compliant, right? This St. Louis Blues stuff came out of nowhere, but it kind of became a situation where the Oilers had to do something. They didn't have to be the bad guy and do it willingly anymore. And that's where you look. There's a lot of talk about the friendship between Cody Ceci and Leon Draisaitl, and the Oilers had to trade Cody Ceci. They were forced to because of these offer sheets. They had to do something. Whereas before, when we were talking all summer about Cody Ceci trade rumors and fitting under the cap, signing Broberg and Holloway to $1.5 million or less each, you didn't have to trade Ceci. You were just choosing to. Whereas being the bad guy in that situation versus being forced to do it, your culpability for being the bad guy is taken away because of the offer sheets. So you kind of almost feel bad necessarily in that situation for Cody Ceci, because the Oilers were almost looking for an excuse, it would feel like, if that's true or if that's real, right? That's just kind of how it goes. But having covered this all summer, the Oilers did have a desire, they did have a market for trading Cody Ceci, but they took as long as humanly possible to do it. And that's where I'd say, right, it's almost as if the offer sheet was wanted, because then they didn't have to be the bad guy. Well, time will tell how that pans out. We've got one more news item here for you this evening, and then we update for the final time tomorrow morning. So this was this is basically my update to Patrick's story there earlier today about the RFAs and Broberg and Holloway missing from the Oilers official roster on the website. And of course, David Staples, who's been on top of this whole mess as well, he's trying to figure out what the heck are you guys doing? Why'd you do that? And Puckpedia kind of giving the most simplistic answer, and kind of also, if I give you this update right now, is the NHL wiped the slate clean of all the notable RFAs off the NHL rosters right now to fall in line with what Hart, Levine, and crew are saying over at Puckpedia, saying they're officially on Edmonton's reserve list until the 7 days have passed and they have not matched. Then they get transferred over to the St. Louis Blues property. So if they are matched, they will go back onto the Oilers official roster. If not, they sit in the reserve list, which kind of over on Cap Friendly was much more accessible than I think it is on the NHL website. But that is what it is for right now, friends, and I appreciate you sticking it through. Another update here today. I mean, right, this is almost over at this point, whether Broberg and Holloway are matched or not. It kind of just is what it is. I think leaning one way or another, it probably won't be a matching scenario, because you go back over here, being able to run with almost $1 million in cap space, you accrue that over the first month or two of the season, hope you only have one or two minor injuries, and then you can always activate Kane to the LTIR after the fact. But the fact for the first few weeks of the year anyway, you'd be accruing cap space is so important, especially with where this team's going, potentially not matching on one Philip Broberg, right? That will leave a giant hole on the right-hand shot side. But if you can figure out a way to kind of make it work for the meantime with Emberson, Stetcher, and Brown, and maybe some other guys on the farm, as the season goes on, you can definitely accrue that cap space until you can make that bigger move. You don't have to make the move at the deadline. You can do it early January. You can do it late December. You can do it whenever the heck you want to, when the time and the price feels right. Friends, for right now, my voice is failing me. A lot of screaming and yelling at Luke Combs last night. To tell you that, Country Thunder was an experience as always. That's really the only way I can ever put it. You put a gigantic country festival downtown Calgary, you are going to see some sights, you're going to hear some sights, and my goodness, are you going to listen to some loud music because it just reverberates around the downtown core. So, no, it was good. Luke Combs obviously headlining the Sunday night show. Fantastic time, but you know, it's already over. That's the crazy part, and we're back to the work week, and tomorrow morning, 7:30 in the morning, yours truly will have an update about 7:47, 7:48 tomorrow morning as we discuss the latest on the offer sheets and what the Edmonton Oilers have truly decided to do a week later. For right now, Dolynny TV up on out of here.